Welcome to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, mum, FIFO wife, MBA, coffee lover, survivor superfan, and creator of the email experience. In Easy Email Marketing, you'll benefit from my nearly 20 years experience, where I'll be teaching you all the tips, tricks, and insider info on how to create feel-good, non-spammy experiences for your subscribers. Let's get stuck in. Welcome back to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, and today I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite hacks to help you increase your sales using some of the little known tricks and tactics that your email marketing software offers. These are things that you might not even know exist. Now, this is not your usual how to get sales with email marketing content. I won't be talking about the different types of emails you can send or the automations you can use to generate more sales. I've shared a ton of that in previous episodes tailored around different business types. So I will link to a few of those in the show notes if that is more your speed. Instead, what I will be sharing are the extra layers that we can put within these emails and within these automations that take them from being stock standard mass marketing to standout personalized marketing. So the common theme throughout these hacks is increasing the relevance of the emails to your subscribers. So back in episode 86, I spoke in detail about the lift model for conversions. This was developed by Chris Goward from conversion.com. It's a fantastic model to help conceptualize how to increase your conversions. Focus that was on lead pages, but I've adapted it a little bit to email. And one of the key factors they identified to increase conversions is that you need to increase the relevance of the offer or the message to your audience. It makes sense, right? The more relevant an offer or the email content is to me, the more likely I will read it, the more likely I will take action on it. Of course, the challenge is then, how do I do this when you have a list of subscribers who fit a whole range of scenarios? So this is one of the really untapped potential areas of email marketing and something that differentiates it from other marketing channels. For example, when you create a post on social media, you get one post. You don't get different versions of that post for different people. Or you don't get posts that only some people see and some don't. But with email, you can do that. And inside this episode, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite tricks. But before I get stuck in, I wanted to let you know about a special live event happening next week, the Email Sales Get It Done Week. So this is the goal, is to write and schedule your next sales promotion live with me. So we are coming in to peak sales season. I'm sure I don't need to remind you of that. We've got Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, New Year's, all coming up. So if you have one of those, and you need to get ready, you need to get your emails done, this is perfect for you. The earlier you start, the better. Or even if you just wanted to create a standard flash sale or like a client invitation, then this is also for you. So from October 22nd, I'm hosting 3 co-working sessions, so across different days and times for different time zones. These will be hosted on Zoom, and we will be writing these emails together. So it's creating that accountability, plus I am there for any input and suggestions. Plus, during the time period, so right until October 28th, you'll get access to 1 week of personalized one-on-one email support and feedback on your sales campaigns. So to join, all you need to do is grab either the e-commerce sales pack or the services sales pack courses by October 21st. So these are some courses that are low cost, and they give you the exact strategies and the emails you need for running a successful sales campaign. So you can have copy and paste emails done. So basically, you'll take the emails from those programs, come join me in the Zoom sessions, and we'll convert them and make them good for you. Or you can write from scratch based on the principles in the programs. The e-commerce sales pack has also just had an upgrade with a full section specifically for Black Friday, including 10 scripts you can use. Plus, as bribery, if you submit the emails to me by the end, so the 28th of October, in other words, actually getting them done, so I'm providing some incentive, I'll be gifting you back your $30 Australian in the form of store credit to the Email Marketing Superstore. So you can come back and grab another course to do your next thing. So if you do the work, you effectively get the course for free. So you can learn more all about that and grab one of those courses at yaelkeown.com/done. Okay, with that out the way, let's get stuck into these hidden email marketing hacks to increase your sales. First, a disclaimer, some of these features are advanced and they may not be available in your software or your plan level. You may hear me referencing Klaviyo and ActiveCampaign a bit through these, as these are definitely some of the more advanced technical platforms, but please don't let that put you off, as there are definitely some hidden gems in here for you and you can adapt to whatever software you're using. So yes, there might be some things that you can't do, but you go, okay, what is the some version of that? Second warning is that I'm sharing a lot of ideas. If you've been following me for a while, you know I love an info dump. I am an ideas woman. That's what makes me great at what I do. I can see different ways we can use these tools to help your businesses. But please don't let this overwhelm you. As we go through these, I suggest you note down just a couple that you would like to implement and then come back for more. But you absolutely do not need to and should not do everything. As I mentioned, the focus here is to increase the relevance of your emails to your subscribers. And to do this, we want to know more about them. So the first 3 hacks I'm going to share are how do we do that? How do we learn more about our subscribers? So the first one is a bit obvious, and that is to ask. So this is where we want to get more qualitative data, right? So things like, what are they interested in? What topics? What category do they fit in? Or what stage are they at? Typically, most businesses I work with will have 1 or 2 of these things that are just really core questions about what's the best way you can show up and help them. So we don't want to have 10 options here. We want to just have a couple of things that really help them. One of the ways you can do this is through using a 2-step sign-up form. So this is when you are asking people to sign up to your list in any form. It could be for a lead magnet or just a general footer thing. And instead of just having your name and email address and submitting the form, what you can do is that after they hit submit, you can redirect them to a second form. And this asks them those couple of questions. Now, the benefit of doing this is you still got their email address, so you can still send them the emails. But if they are extra engaged, they might want to answer those questions. Or on the original form, maybe you just have a third field. If it's only one thing you're asking, putting that in as a third field can be quite effective because people actually see how that you're interested in knowing more about them, and it actually shows, oh, okay, they might actually share personalized content with me. The second way you can get this information is via a preferences form. So I've spoken about preferences setters a few episodes ago, but you can actually use not only this with saying, oh no, I want sales emails or I want emails on this. You could ask these questions also on the preferences form. Or you could use a votable poll in their welcome email or somewhere in the welcome series. So this could be, hey, I want to make sure that I'm helping you best. Can you let me know which of these 3 categories you fit best into? And just have a little link that if they click, it takes them to a unique URL, and based on that, you can go ahead and update a tag or update a field which says that they fit into this category. So asking, very simple. The second way is using predictive data. Now, this comes with only some email marketing software. One that does this really well is Klaviyo. So they have fields like where they can predict someone's gender, predict things like the next order date, the average time between orders, customer lifetime value, all of those sorts of things. So this is where you can use this data that it's doing based on this individual's interactivity and how much that they are doing, plus averages, and they start to figure out what some of these things are. Most software will also help predict the location of your subscribers. So that uses IP addresses, right? So if someone signed up using one of their sign-up forms or someone clicks an email, then it will begin to identify the location of that subscriber. Of course, it's not 100% accurate, but it is quite interesting. Then the third way that we can learn more about our subscribers is through behavioral targeting. And so this is we can figure out certain things about our subscribers based on what they do. So we can do it based around if they've opened an email, clicked on a link, or visited a web page. So all of this is engagement. So we can identify who are our most engaged subscribers. We can even get more specific with this. So we can say if they clicked on a link that's related to this topic, we can insinuate from that they fit into this interest or this category. So there might be sometimes when you're adding in these little secret things where you're identifying, okay, where someone clicked on this link, etc. Of course, knowing if someone's purchased or hasn't purchased, that is key information. And finally, some software like ActiveCampaign even offers things like lead scoring. So this is where you can, based on their actions, you can start to assign scores and you can identify who are your most promising leads. So we can take this behavioral targeting information to go from really specific custom automations, which I'll get to in a minute, or just to identify who's the most engaged or who is most likely to buy. So that's 3 key ways that we can learn about our subscribers: asking, predictive data, and their behaviors. Now you have that data. How can you use it? So I'm going to go from simple to advanced here and how we can start to really optimize our campaigns and our emails. The first one is through segmented campaigns. So this is very simple. So this is instead of sending one email out to everyone, maybe you send 2 or 3 versions of that email out to distinct groups based on their category, based on this data. So you might just be like, okay, we're promoting this offer. We don't want to send it to anyone who has already purchased it. So we've already got that segmented. So maybe have multi versions of the same campaign to determine and based around what you know about someone. A variation on this is also doing A/B split tests. So a great way to increase sales and conversions from your emails is to identify which email does best. And as soon as you get to a decent number of subscribers, this is something you can do. We can create 2 versions of an email, and it can be as simple as you just want to split test a subject line, or you want to split test the whole content of an email. And what the software does is first, when you have the send time, it'll send 5% of your list one email, 5% of your list another, and it will give it a couple of hours. And after a couple of hours, it will identify which email performed better, and then it will send the email that performed best to everyone else. So we can do some split testing there and improve your campaigns. The third way that we can increase the relevance of our campaigns is through sending them at the right time. So I've covered in a previous episode about what's the right time to send an email, and where this gets tricky is when there are people in different time zones. So we want to start thinking about first at a first layer, perhaps you just want to send the email, so whether it's the campaign or the automation email, at their local time. So 2 p.m. is a great time for them to receive their emails. Just change the setting instead of 2 p.m. your time to 2 p.m. their local time. Where software takes this even better is they have smart sending or predictive sending features. So Klaviyo has this feature where you can start to use smart sending, where you say, over the course of a 24-hour period, send this email out went to each individual subscriber based around when you think they are most likely to open it. ActiveCampaign calls this predictive sending, and you can put this in automations, or you can put it as your campaigns, and where you say, again, when do they think someone is most likely going to open it, and that's when it sends the email. So that is really cool. That's based around that individual person's thing. Okay, so that's some more simple ones. The next one is all about your automation or your flow triggers. So this is using that data that you have gathered, and generally specifically the behavioral data. This really works well with them to trigger off or to start an automation. So the most common example of this that you would know is the abandoned cart. So this is where someone abandons a cart, and then you send out some abandoned cart emails. Another one is if someone purchases something, you might send a post-purchase email. So that's a behavioral-based trigger. But you can go even further than that. So you can do something around, if they visited a sales page or a product page but didn't purchase and they didn't add to cart, can you send something to them at that stage? Or can you at least identify that they're interested or add some, lead scores? You could do things like the predicted next order date. So Klaviyo does this really well. Then instead of guessing and saying, okay, 6 months after their last order, let's send out a replenishment reminder email. Instead, what you can do is go, okay, based on this unique subscriber's predicted next order date, when are we going to send out an email that invites them to repurchase? If you're using something like lead scoring, or you've got some sort of metric to identify when someone is really, really engaged, like you've created a segment of people that have opened every email, maybe that can either send them something special or it sends you a notification email. So we can use this information to trigger off different automations, whether they go to the subscribers, whether it's for internal information, but we can use this information to target our subscribers at the right time based around what they are actively doing right now or the predictive data. Number 5, the 5th way we can use this information is using conditional splits within automations. So this is where once an automation is begun, you can decide which version of an email you will send based around what you know about them. So earlier I mentioned sending segmented campaigns, so sending a version of a campaign to people who have purchased or who have not purchased or are in this category or that category. We can do the same thing with automations. So this is where you would ask a question, are they in category A or are they in category B? If A, send them this. If B, send them this. So there's 2 different versions of the emails. And we can do this. It's quite common to do this in things like a welcome series, but I think we're leaving things on the table a little bit if we limit it just to that. You could actually do it in automations that like your abandoned cart. So people abandon carts for all sorts of reasons, but there could be different information you want to give people based around something as simple as, have they ever purchased or not? So if they've never purchased, maybe they need more information. Maybe they are unsure about your shipping policies or your quality, or they want more reassurance. So you can focus your messaging around that. If someone's purchased from you 10 times and they've abandoned the cart, you can be much more casual with them. You don't need to tell them everything. It's like you're already talking to them in language of, our stuff's good. Maybe you're still just deciding, or maybe you literally just forgot. So here's a courtesy email. So we can talk to people in different ways based around how much they've experienced with us. So limiting to just like a welcome series with this can, really minimize what we can do. Okay. Now, number 6, we are getting a little bit deeper. So what if instead of sending different versions of emails, what if we can just edit the email a little bit to make it appeal to people in different ways? So this is called dynamic content. So that means content in an email that changes based around what we know about our subscribers. So the most common example of this that you should know is adding someone's name to the email. So this is using a merge field or a personalization field. So putting their name at the beginning of the email is an example of this. And side note, use their name throughout the email. You don't need to just have it at the hi name. You can put it in there further down. But you can also use these fields for some keywords or dates. So maybe, you can say, you last purchased on such and such a date, and you can put the date there and it just populates the field. One of my clients, Good for the Hood, they work with local councils and they provide resources to residents of those councils. So we've created a simple merge field which has got the name of the council in it, so that when we send an email out to the residents of that council, we can say this council name is, presenting you this. So it's just giving that extra personalization, the extra layer that lets them know that it's for them. Another way you can do this is through dynamic product blocks. So product recommendation blocks based around past purchase behavior, past viewing behavior, what's popular. They are really powerful and something really simple you can add. And one that is really cool, which I haven't experimented a lot with yet, is ActiveCampaign has a predictive content option where you can have up to 5 versions of like text-based content, and it will choose the one that subscribers like most. So they use the example of like tone. Some people might like really short and snappy. Some people might like informational. And so if you use different copywriting styles, like up to 5 different copywriting styles to share the same message, and you upload the 5 different versions, it will actually over time identify which subscribers like which versions and then just present them with the version that they like. Now, that's pretty fancy. Probably not something that I see many people using yet, only really large corporations, but where this is going is just amazing. Next up, we have conditional content. So dynamic content is where someone is like the content within a block is changing based around what we know about that subscriber. Conditional content is all about which content are we going to show, effectively a block, like a whole section. So if you think about this as a whole section, are we going to show this to certain groups of people? So the most common example of this and the most helpful example, and this is one that I think would be super helpful for most people, is if you're just sending out an email, which is a blog post, for example, and at the bottom of every email, maybe you want to say, hey, join this program or promote a special offer, get 10% off your first order. You could have a block there, and the conditional content is, have you purchased or not? So if someone has not purchased, they see this call to action. So whether that's a form of text or an image. But if they haven't purchased, so if they have purchased, they don't see it at all. That's an example of conditional content. You could also do it for specific helpful content. So maybe, again, you might say, here's some blog posts you might like. Maybe if they're interested in this topic, you show this version of the block. And if they're interested in this other topic, you show this version. Quite simple that you can just split those out. Or it could be different versions of a call to action. So another client, Mealtimes, Dr. Carla's Mealtimes, she has memberships for different age levels. So she's got baby mealtimes, toddler mealtimes, family mealtimes. A way we can differentiate this is just saying, okay, we know which age range someone's children fit into. So the call to action to join the membership, the one that we display can be different depending on which group they fit into. So the benefit of having conditional content is that we don't have to go and write 2, 3, 4 versions of the same email where most of the content is the same, but we've got this one thing different. What we can do is within the email, say we've got that block. And then finally, there's universal content. And this is actually taking it back the other way. But it's quite helpful when mixed with this conditional content concept. So the idea here is where if you edit like a master content block, it'll update across all the emails and templates that block is used in. So if it's used in templates or if it's used in multiple automation emails, you can go ahead and change it just in one place and it will change across all of them. So Klaviyo calls it universal content blocks. They've probably got the most powerful version of this. ConvertKit uses snippets. They're now called Kit as of these last couple of weeks. So that's going to be fun updating everything. They use snippets. ActiveCampaign has one called message variables. But the idea here is that you could say, okay, I want to update this. I want to have my promo banner. So say I've got a promo banner for this program and I'm putting it across all of my emails. I want to be able to change it in one place instead of going and changing it in all my automations. Or if you got promoting your 10% off welcome code or first purchase, and you only want it to display to people that haven't purchased, but you want it in all their automation emails, you could do that, but you can update it and change it from the universal content block. Okay, that was a lot. We've covered segmented campaigns, A/B split tests, sending at local times. using this information as triggers, using splits in automations, and then of course dynamic content, conditional content, universal content. This might be something you listen to a bit. So it might be something you come back to regularly and add in one extra idea at a time. Also, I want you to note, not everything is for you. I view all of these as a toolkit. So when I work with clients, I begin to look at the big picture of how their business works and the different groups of people that they have on their list. From there, I look at this toolkit and I see, okay, how can we utilize their software to make their emails and offers more relevant to the different groups of subscribers that they serve? So this is from a very transactional point of view, but also just from an overall marketing, messaging, promotion point of view. So if you're thinking that now, wow, there is a lot more to this email marketing thing than I thought, and I want help setting up some of these things, then I do offer one-on-one consulting. There are a range of packages. You can just head to my website, yaelkeone.com, and click on the Work With Me tab. And of course, don't forget, if you're planning a sales promotion in the next couple of months, make sure to join me on the email sales Get It Done week. We can even look at how we can tailor those sales messages using some of these hacks. So maybe we just layer in one of these things during that campaign and think about, maybe I can talk to a couple of different subscribers, groups of my subscribers in different ways during this time. Learn more all about that at yaelkeone.com/done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would love to hear from you about what you've enjoyed from this episode or what you want to know more about in future episodes. Please let me know over on Instagram. I'm at yaelkeone, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Easy Email Marketing. It's an absolute honor that you chose to listen. If you love this episode, then it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review so that others can find this podcast and make their email marketing easy too. Finally, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Until next time, have an awesome day and make sure to keep showing up and serving in those inboxes.